Brains Over Brawn, a comparative analysis of the amateur, 2025, and the Epic of Sundiata. Introduction. The 2025 film, The Amateur, starring Rami, Malek, and Laurence Fishburne, offers a compelling narrative rooted in the age-old theme of intellect triumphing over brute strength. This theme, while prominent in many modern thrillers, has ancient precedents, one of the most prominent being the Epic of Sundiata, the foundational myth of the Mali Empire. This discussion explores how The Amateur functions as a modern cinematic retelling of this African epic's core message, that wisdom, perseverance, and insight are superior to raw power. Background: The Epic of Sundiata. The Epic of Sundiata recounts the life of Sundiata Keita, the legendary founder of the Mali Empire. Born with a physical disability that rendered him unable to walk, Sundiata was overlooked, mocked, and underestimated. However, he eventually rose to power through spiritual wisdom, strategic alliances, and a deep understanding of his enemies, most notably the sorcerer king Sundiata Keita. The epic, passed down by griots, emphasizes intellect and destiny over physical prowess. Synopsis of The Amateur. The Amateur centers on a CIA cryptographer, played by Rami Malek, who was drawn into field operations following the death of his loved one in a terrorist attack. Though he lacks the physical training of typical action heroes, he leverages his intelligence, pattern recognition, and understanding of systems to track down those responsible. In doing so, he becomes an unlikely and underestimated force against both terrorists and institutional resistance within the CIA. Comparative analysis. Both narratives center on protagonists who are initially dismissed by those around them. Sundiata's lameness and the cryptographer's lack of field experience place them outside the conventional definition of hero. However, each protagonist's triumph is rooted in a superior understanding of human behavior, alliances, and strategic planning. Sundiata's eventual defeat of Sundiata Keita hinges on his ability to identify his enemy's weaknesses and call upon deeper ancestral and cultural knowledge. Similarly, Rami Malek's character defeats his enemies by exploiting their overconfidence and blind spots, not with physical strength, but through code, memory, and psychological acuity. The theme of brains over brawn is not just a personal story, it becomes a cultural counter-narrative, especially in a society where non-white protagonists are often framed as physically powerful, but intellectually sidelined. Both Sundiata and the cryptographer reclaim intelligence as a heroic trait. Cultural significance. The Amateur represents a cultural reclaiming of non-white intellectual tradition. By mirroring the Epic of Sundiata, the film serves not only as entertainment, but as a bridge between oral traditions of African heroism and modern cinematic storytelling. The emphasis on intellect over violence subtly challenges racial stereotypes and honors African epistemologies. Conclusion. In drawing a line from the Epic of Sundiata to The Amateur, we uncover a timeless archetype, the underestimated intellectual who overcomes systemic and personal obstacles through insight and strategy. This comparison reveals the enduring relevance of African epic traditions and highlights how contemporary cinema can serve as a vehicle for reclaiming and reimagining those narratives.